Back at Le Mans on Eurosport, and while we've been in the break, it's all changing. Andre Lotterer, the master of threading the needle, has taken both the factory Porsches ahead of him, using all the traffic to his advantage.
Yeah, that was a fabulous section there. They're coming through the Porsche curves. They were all in a gaggle of GT cars, some really close calls, and Andre Lotterer was absolutely on fire there. Dived inside I think it was the Dunlop curves, dived inside Yanni, and then I think it was Timo got it wrong on the way out of there. He went in too deep, got it wrong on the way out so he was slow out, and then of course Andre got him on the way out. So yeah, that's basically two corners and two cars passed, and the race lead for Audi.
They're not going to let him get away, but Jeremy, are they?
They're not going to want to let him get away, that's for sure, but it's going to be very, very interesting to see there what will happen. It was a great move, though, by Andre Lotterer. He really put the pressure on to a couple of cars making pit stops. Nico Hülkenberg in the Porsche car number 19, Marco Bononomi in the Audi car number 9, both making stops on that last lap. And interestingly, since their last stops, admittedly there's 3 laps under caution here, so we don't know how long they can go, but in relative terms, the Audi managed to do one more lap than the Porsche. Number 9, Audi did one complete more lap than the Porsche.
Now this is the part of the circuit Audi has always excelled on, the third part, isn't it, on the run-up from Arnage through the Porsche curves.
And the first one, actually, they're very quick through the first one as well. They're the fastest cars through the first session, the first sector in qualifying.
The track has been altered here. They've put wider verges in now. There's a lot more hard standing than there used to be. Porsche curves themselves adjusted, more gravel runoff, and much safer now, Damien.
Yeah, and of course we're just getting this wonderful shot of the Porsche curves there and those P1s lapping a GT car, but it just goes to show you what they're up against and the challenges they have in trying to negotiate and manage the traffic as best they can. But fabulous lap there from Andre Lotterer, and he's just pulled a little bit of a gap on the Porsches, but brilliant driving. He really set them up there and took advantage.
Yeah, completely agree. Just a quick note about LMP2. The leader, Tristan Gomondi, made his second pit stop on that last time around, as did the third place car of Lawrence Vantour, who's really done a fine job in the Oak Racing car number 34. But again, one of the very earliest to pit this time around. 2 more guys onto pit lane. Luis Felipe Durrani in another of the Oak Racing entries. That's a G-Drive car. And also John Fogarty in number 31 Extreme Super Motorsport. So here now is the number 8 car onto pit lane.
And Andre Lotterer's lap at 3:22, and he's just done the fastest sector of anyone in the race on this 25th lap.
Yeah, we just saw that actually before that last yellow, and there's another replay coming out of the first chicane. You can see Andre Lotterer had to go right over in off to the basically the hard shoulder over that cement dust, and he had to just thread the needle through all those cars.
Had he forgotten that Lena Gade told him to avoid it?
Wow, there's contact, I think, between is that the 18 of Neil Yanni and I think it's one of the
caught up
P2s
with the Thierry car
into the first chicane. That's not what they want.
No.
That new fastest, that purple sector one there for Andre Lotterer. He had also set the best sector earlier in the race at a 31.651 seconds. So a tenth and a half quicker though on that lap through that sector by Andre Lotterer.
And Timo Bernhardt responding with his own personal best in that sector.
Yeah, and once again, that was a 32.0. So once again, a half a second gap there in that interesting first sector.
You told us how quick they were in the first sector, the Audis. Number one car then up into fourth place at the moment, Sebastian Buemi, but those Toyotas are just off the pace. 17 seconds behind already in the 3 or 4 laps since the safety cars came in.
Yeah, I mean, as Johnny alluded to, it doesn't really look that good for them. Yeah, so it could be a lonely old race, you know, just looking to pick up the pieces really. And but fortunately for them, the two German teams in front of them have 3 cars each. That's 6 cars in total. So you know, there might not be many scraps to pick up.
And Lotterer's already starting to drop those Porsches. It's going to be 2 seconds by the time they get back to the start-finish line.
Yeah, he's had a reasonable sector 2, but I think we saw, I think it was Timo Bernhard that had a cracking 75-second sector 2 there just a few laps ago. And that's Andrea Lotterer doing a 77.5 sector 2. That's 2 seconds slower than the Porsche, than the potential of the Porsche through that sector.
Yeah, and the sectors here that split up into 3 sectors. The 8.5 miles here at the Circuit de la Sarthe at Le Mans. Sector 1 goes from start-finish line to Tête Rouge, which is the beginning of the Mulsanne straightaway, and sector 2 goes from Tête Rouge through the 2 chicanes all the way to Mulsanne corner at the far end. It's about 3.5 miles. That is sector 2, the 3 long straightaways separated by those 2 chicanes, and then the 3rd sector from Mulsanne corner back to start finish line, where again there's a very fast section and some very fast cornering sections as well through the Porsche curves.
3.3 seconds the gap now, not 2 but 3.3 for Bernhard over Jani. What a monster lap.
And again, the interesting thing there, though, there is the Andre Lotterer comes in on that lap to make his pit stop. So yes, he's going super fast, but he's in a lap earlier again than the Porsche.
Yeah, that's not really what we expected, Jeremy, was it? Or was it? Yeah, I think the Porsches can do a lap longer, wasn't it? I think. But he's coming in there, and of course these guys, he'll be heading into his 3rd stint if he stays aboard here.
Yeah.
And
no change of tires again.
And no change of tires, so they're at least triple stinting. In fact, Audi, I think, are very confident of quadruple stinting their tires. But just a note on the drivers here: these guys in these closed cockpit cars have no, in the prototypes at least, have no air conditioning. They have no cool suits. They have no helmet blowers. The only means of cooling are an onboard fan and perhaps some air ducts. And we're just speaking to Mike Conway earlier on the Toyota, for example. They keep the air ducts closed because it interferes with the aerodynamics. So it's a real sort of test of stamina for these guys.
Yeah, just to remind you, the Audis, of course, diesel cars, and they have been since 2006. They can only take on 54.2 litres maximum against the 68.3 of the petrol Porsches.
I mentioned the hybrid system and the harvesting of this electric energy, but in the Audi it seems sort of more it seems louder. But I wonder, is it just because the diesel engine is quieter? Because we're just on board the Porsche there, and of course, you know, it's a 2-litre V4 petrol engine, but it's also louder than the diesel of the Audi. So I wonder, is it just
we also mentioned the
difference.
Williams flywheel, of course, which is in the cockpit. You must get some sort of noise or vibration from that.
Yeah, well, the noise is quite noticeable, you know.
Those of you just joining us, we mentioned earlier Patrick Head becoming Sir Patrick Head, joining his partner Sir Frank Williams. That'll be a good Trivial Pursuits question years to come. Which Formula One team's got 2 nights?
And yeah, well deserved, has to be said. Just a quick note here, though, the LMP2 leader, Richard Bradley, the KCMG Orica Nissan, he just brought that car onto pit lane for its second stop. That will elevate the Murphy Prototypes car, and a big fan favourite, Greg Murphy's team, the green and white primarily car, Nathaniel Berton starting that car, and he now takes over the lead in LMP2, but he has yet to make his second pit stop. Also now up onto the verge of the top, as you move into the top 10 now, is Harry Tinknell in the Nissan car number 22, the brand new cars this season, so it's ahead now of all the P2 cars, yet it has made its second stop. No, it hasn't made its second stop, Harry Tinknell, but he's up inside the top 10, so hats off to Nissan for that accomplishment. Look at the GT battle there, Damien.
That was a great shot back there from Ollie Gavin's Corvette to Richie Stanaway, and you can see the different lines that they can actually take into the second chicane. They're not just 100% line for line, and of course Richie Stanaway will be going in there, avoiding taking a different line on the way in to maximize his run out of there to try and get a draft, which he did, but it just drew him alongside the Corvette.
So the second place car of Neil Jarni once again comes onto pit lane. That's the Porsche car number 18. Here it is. Fuel only one more time. All they're allowed to do is clean things. They're allowed to clean the windscreen, clean the headlights, nothing else, while the fuel is being introduced to the fuel cell on that Porsche 919 hybrid. And at the same time, Timo Bernhardt, his teammate there, turns the new fastest lap of the race, a 3 minutes 19.346. And that is the lap record. The race lap record here is 19.394. So a new outright race lap record here for Timo Bernhardt on lap 26.
Well, we know the Audi is capable of that. They did it this morning in the warm-up at 3:19. So be very interesting to see if they respond here.
Yeah, obviously different fuel loads at that time, and Audi's just been refueled, doesn't it, that car? So that's why Timo Bernhardt, as the fuel load gets lighter, just gradually comes back to him again.
Of course, the weight comes off, and yeah, that's it. But another interesting fact about the drivers, and again, this came from Mike Conway. We got a lot of information from him earlier on. Thank you, Mike. These guys obviously have a drinks bottle that they take on board with them. We saw a shot of I think it was the Audi one being replaced at a pit stop earlier. But these guys are weighed by the FIA all the time during the course of the 24 hours. So if they finish a stint and they get out, they could be taken to be weighed, and they've had to register a weight with the FIA, and if they're under that weight, even though they've lost it through dehydration or whatever, then there could be a problem. So they actually have to make sure that they finish that drinks bottle, and if they don't drink it early enough in the stint, it gets very hot. But if they do drink it early in the stint and then they have to stay in for like a triple stint, well, then they could be in trouble going to the toilet.
There's a lot to think about when you're driving these prototype cars, and a great race unfolding here at the 83rd Le Mans. Quick spin there for the Krone Racing Leger. We'll be right back. welcome back to Eurosport's coverage of the 83rd Grand Prix d'Endurance, the 24 hours of Le Mans. Fascinating race unfolding here. Timo Bernhard, our race leader for virtually all of the 27 laps of the race so far, brings that car onto pit lane for the second time. We're watching here one of the many battles going on in the GT field. In GT, it is Nicky Tim who leads for Aston Martin, the Danish crewed car number 95. Jimmy Bruni for Ferrari in second place, and then Stefan Muka in third place. And the battle we were watching there was Oliver Gavin in the Corvette trying to fend off Richie Stanaway in the Aston Martin and James Calado in the Ferrari. But back here to the battle for what is now the lead, the two Porsches out in front of this race.
Oh, we just saw a Ferrari slow down and go off to the side of the track back in that GT battle.
We think that was the entry to Porsche curves. We got a double yellow down at zone 30. And there it is on the screen, yeah. Just seemed to go off at a tangent, didn't it, on the side?
Yeah, it looked to be slowing down or something. It could have been some sort of a mechanical or something. Let's hope it's nothing too serious for them.
So on board them with Neil Jani. Got a slightly clearer track for the moment. Here he is passing the
that's Andrea Lauter, isn't it? Passing.
Yeah. Was he? Which way round was it? Here's Lauter then in the 7 car. What was Lauter passing Jani? Yeah, you're absolutely right. Through Indianapolis then.
Yeah, and I think once again the Audi there very quick after the resumption of a pit stop, but the Porsche able to eke out its fuel a little bit more. Look how much these two have pulled away now from everybody else. I haven't actually seen where the number 17 car is in relation to these. It's just made a pit stop. The number 7 car was in 2 laps ago. Number 18 car, with which we're on board right now, coming through the Porsche coast. Look how fast this section is here. Doing about 140 miles an hour through there. Remarkable.
Yeah, and he's just come through a waved yellow there, so obviously he slowed down.
Yeah, well,
he wasn't optimizing the speed.
The reason for that is there's a cone on the track in zone 30 on the apex, which is just what we're talking about, the entry to Porsche curves.
This is that battle we're talking about for the 4th place in GT. That's Oliver Gavin in the Corvette that leads. It's Richie Stanaway in that orange and yellow Aston Martin there in the 5th place, and James Calado, the Englishman, in the of course a Ferrari right behind them as well. That's a great battle going on. They're about 10 or 11 seconds behind the GT leader. But with just over an hour gone in this race, there's a heck of a lot of time to go.
And Jeremy, interestingly, all the leading cars there in LMP1 are now on their 3rd set of tyres, aren't they? Of course, they're all triple stinting.
Oh yes, yeah. Yep. None of the leaders have yet changed tyres. You're absolutely right, Mark. Yes.
And all of this, of course, whilst these battles are going on, I mean, really, the philosophy here is just really damage limitation. You know, whilst they're still, these guys are racing door to door. I mean, the idea really is to look at the big picture, and you want to survive the first 20 hours. If you survive the first 20 hours, then obviously you've only got 4 to go, and it become more of a sort of a sprint race, if you like, back then. So there's a good shot of Ollie Gavin. We saw that steering wheel, which in the regulations has to have a closed rimmed steering wheel, which I think I'm not sure if they've just made a slight modification to it here for the Corvette, because I think in the US they run with an open top, so that you can see their dashboard.
Well, they had to put a bar across it last year, and I guess that's what we got the same again this year.
It's just one of those funky rules. There is another rule, something about a suitcase has to fit behind the seat or something in the rear. I'm not sure if they actually tested with a suitcase. like something Michael O'Leary from Ryanair would come up with, isn't it?
Well, as you can see from the screen, battle for 5th place in P2, Nathaniel Bertone and Kevin Estre. There's Kevin in the 34 car, the man who won the Silverstone 3 hours at the wheel of McLaren, giving McLaren its biggest international win since Le Mans 95, as the 31 Rolling Stone car of Ed Brown parks itself 4 wheels off. He'll get penalised.
Yeah, that's at Mulsanne corner, isn't it? Ed Brown taking over the wheel of that car number 31 car from the starting driver, which I think was John Fogarty.
That's the slowest corner on the track too. That'll be first gear for most of these cars, if not all of those cars. And you can see there, Ed was really, really lucky to not beach himself in the gravel there, but obviously now he has to, there's not enough steering knock to get round the direction where he wants to go, so he's got to find reverse gear somewhere in there in that cockpit.
Kevin Estre making a bid then for that 5th place as they come through the first chicane. Ed Brown still stuck on the track there.
Yeah, just a bit too much power there, I think, Damien Faulkner.
Yeah, it actually looked like he was just carrying a little bit too much speed into the apex, and he was probably just trying to is still on the brakes, a little bit too much brake with that amount of lock. He's lost the rear end because the balance is gone. But pretty harmless looking spin. I don't think there'll be any need to...
we are on board with him now, so talk
yeah, so there you go. There you see the big dial. Oh, here's a very close battle with Richie Stanaway and Ollie Gavin, of course. Ollie just went in there a little bit hot, and Richie Stanley was able to get a better exit. And I think this time, wow, that Corvette is really, really fast in a straight line. So despite, I think, Richie having the best exit there, you can see Ollie Gavin has actually almost overlapped again in front of Richie Stanaway. So in fact, there you go, he has, and he's pulling away. Wow, the straight line speed there is phenomenal, that Corvette.
Very impressive, and that was the case through yesterday in qualifying as well. The Corvettes were the fastest cars in GT, 185 miles an hour at the fastest point on track, which in qualifying was leading into the first chicane here on the Mulsanne Straight. Often it's down to Indianapolis, but on Thursday it was, and for Wednesday it was into turn one. That's primarily as a result of wind direction, but the Corvettes had a very slight straight line advantage, but not by much. So the Corvette might have a straight line speed advantage, but Richie Stanaway then laid on the brakes through onto the inside there. But look at these three now. This is a battle for 4th place, 4th, 5th and 6th. Absolutely side by side, heading towards Indianapolis. Yeah. It's going to be interesting.
Bit naughty there for Ollie Gavin. I don't think he realised Richie Stanaway was quite so close on his left-hand side, and he saw the Ferrari on his right, and he just went over. Richie had to take evasive action there and go into the hard shoulder.
Richie's going to try and use this Ferrari to get past, isn't he? And he's getting a drag. Of course, almost half the age of Ollie. Ollie's seen it all. Here we go again.
Well, of course, the Ferrari is now past because these two guys were holding each other up, squabbling. But these guys will be loving that. It's so early in the race that this really doesn't even matter to the result. As long as they can keep it clean and keep sort of going towards the front of their class, then that's all that matters.
So
that's James Collado, isn't it?
Yeah, the former single-seater expert, 26 years of age, from Cropthorne in the UK. He was third in the GP2 Championship in 2013. Ran in Formula 3 before that, in Formula Renault as well. A very talented youngster, and he one of many talented open-wheel drivers making the move into sports cars and making full use of that as well. He's really got a great opportunity here with AF Corsa, one of the factory-blessed Ferraris, and running very quickly indeed. There's a great pass he made on both Ollie Gavin and Richie Stanaway.
I see a 1 minute 55 second stop and go penalty for car number 28 for speeding in the pit lane. Jeremy, that's a nod. Is that a nod size of penalty? 1 minute 55 seconds?
I can tell you it's based on how fast you speed. So
how much he was over the limit.
Yeah, how much you're over. Luckily, it's not the Sambird G drive car. It's the other one. Luis Pipo, Colin Durrani, Ricardo Gonzalez, and Gustavo Iackerman. And two of those three drivers, rookies here. We don't know who's on board the car at the time it was speeding, because, of course, it's not always the driver who breaks the speed limit who gets the penalty, is it?
No, we're not sure whether it was coming into the pit lane or going out again. It's Pipo Derani who's driving the car earlier on. Ricardo Gonzalez taken over the car right now. So yeah, the Colombian Yakiman, the Brazilian Pipo Derani, and the Mexican Ricardo Gonzalez. So the sort of middle/South American entry there for G-Drive Racing, and running in amongst the was about 8th or 9th in the class. But he'll lose that with that upcoming pit stop. It's still Richard Bradley that's cycled back into the lead of P2 in car number 47, the KCMG car. And here's this battle that's going on ahead between the Murphy car of Nathaniel Bertrand and Kevin Estra in that pink and black Ligier Honda that's just moved past to take over that position, having taken over the car from Laurens Vanthoor.
And just watching that slow-mo replay, that's actually 190 miles an hour.
You're back on Eurosport, and while we've been in the break, we've had a moment between Tracy Crone and one of the Rolling Stone cars. Here it is, being replayed. That's the... both ending up in the gravel. Crone is firmly stuck there, and because of that, we've now got a slow zone at zones 10 and 11 in that area. Damien, can you explain how this is going to work?
Yeah, this is something completely new. I've experienced this sort of in Dubai, in the Dubai 24-hour, where there's a code 60, where you must not go faster than 60 miles an hour. So here it's in zones. So you've got like a deceleration zone that's marked by a yellow flag, and then you've got a zone, and it's actually monitored by electronically monitored by a loop, so they can tell. So you must, you've got I think it's 60 kilometers an hour, something like
80.
that. Sorry,
80.
It's 80. Okay, sorry. And so between there's a white line, and the number board is up, so they have to cannot go any faster than that. It's a bit like basically coming into the pits where they press a button, and so they can't exceed that limit.
Yeah.
If they do exceed that limit, the electronics will catch them out, and the officials will be onto them by radio. So you
Basically,
can't cheat it.
Same as coming into a village where you have to slow down and then you can speed up after the village. But here you get advance warning, a countdown.
Well, yeah, and the idea of this as well, apart from safety, is that nobody gets an advantage and nobody's at a disadvantage from the guy that had the advantage.
Keeps,
you know what I mean?
maintains the gaps.
Yeah, because it's really, really difficult to regulate how these drivers slow down. Even if you just have yellow flags with no, you know, they'd have to go back afterwards after the race, check the telemetry, and drivers can slow down, you know, a little bit, or you know, not enough or whatever. So this really, it's a good system, and this is the first time in this race, indeed the first time it's been used here.
Yeah, first time in official race here at Le Mans. Now it is our new race leader. It is Andre Lotterer. Look at the gap. He's already pulling out now over that red and white Porsche of Timo Bernhard. We just saw Neil Jarni there in the third place coming through Mulsanne corner as well. So Andre Lotterer, since that last round of pit stops, he made his pit stop a couple of laps before the Timo Bernhard Porsche, but since then he's been flying along, and Timo Bernhard, it's not necessarily he's been flying along, but Timo Bernhard has not been able to match the pace that he set earlier on in this race. So here we are down to tyre wear. This is where our first glimpse of how the tyre wear is affecting these cars. The Porsche seems to be using its tyres a little bit more than the Audis, because Andre Lotterer, he's not going quite as fast as he was before the last round of pit stops. It's on the third stint on these tyres, already done 2 full fuel stints, but he's certainly got more pace in that car at this stage in the game than do either of the 2 Porsches behind him. That is going to be very, very interesting. It looks like there's a spin there for one of the Oak Racing entries. Which one's
number
that?
35.
Okay, that's a 35 car with, that's one of the Oak Racing entries. The gentleman drivers in that car, Jacques Nicolet, the owner, principal of Oak Racing, along with Jean-Marc Merlin and Eric Maris, the Ocean Sailor.
The other thing we should mention probably there is that was 2 seconds difference between the front 2 there, the Audi and the Porsche. So I would imagine traffic might have had a hand in that as well.
It's been that case for the last couple of laps, so that's the point here. It's only a lap, but each of the last 2 laps, Lotterer has been significantly quicker than Timo Bernhard, and that's the first time we've seen that in this race.
He's just pulled a second, or well, he hasn't just pulled a second. He's done, yeah.
Yeah,
a lap that's within a second, if you like.
Yeah, we've got a safety zone there. So
interestingly, that just referring to the safety zone, it cost them about 10 seconds.
Yes.
The leaders on that lap with the safety zone there.
Yeah, well, that just goes to show you. Yeah, it's pretty effective. You know, that's what the main aim is, to get them to slow down, is to regulate that properly, to manage it properly, and. Yeah, that's good.
All of this is a knock-on from the Giulio Bianchi accident, plus the fact here, if it's wet, they have to have flashing rear rain lights on the LMP cars. And
well, that was from that Toyota crash, wasn't it, earlier?
Yeah, I was going to say that followed from Nakajima's crash at Spa. So
it just goes to show you, you know, even at this level, everybody's still learning.
Yep.
You know,
but they are reacting quickly. That's the good thing.
And that's good. Yeah. That's very good. I think those lights are really good. They're really effective. They're really bright, and they're a welcome addition.
So Neil Jarni, Swiss driver, at the wheel of the 18 car, running in 3rd place at the moment. What about the Toyotas? Dropped back a long way. They've gone under our radar now, haven't they, really? 50 seconds and 62 seconds, respectively, back. And Alex,
yeah, they haven't been losing quite as much ground as they were earlier on, Mark. So that's interesting to see. But you're right, they're still not on the same pace as either the Audis or the Porsches. But they're a lot closer.
I'm here with Nick Johnson from the Krone Racing Machine. We've just seen Tracy Krone, team boss, in there. He's just had a couple little offs. Have you heard from him? What's happened?
Yeah, I reported in that he got a good run down the back straightaway there into the false chicane in the Mulsanne, and I think it looked like he got inside of one of the SM cars there, and I think got in together to the first right-hander in the chicane there, and he probably got into brakes a little hard right into the corner there to not hit anything, and probably spun just because of that, unfortunately.
And the two of you racing together and making history this year. This is your 10th Le Mans together consecutively, am I right?
That's correct. Somebody told me earlier we're breaking some sort of record as a pairing, yes. So 10th consecutive year, and we actually had another anniversary last year in Sebring. It was our 100th race together. So this is 11 seasons together, so we've done it for a long time. It's a lot of fun.
That's incredible. What a great partnership you guys have. I really hope to see you at the end. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Jeremy, I don't know.
Rather quiet. I hope the listeners could hear that.
Yeah.
I was having a hard time listening to it. In case you didn't hear it, it was Liz Halliday there with Tracy Krone's co-driver Nicholas Jonsson there, and there is the number 30 ESM. Well, that's the second of the cars.
This is Scott Sharp's car, of course. This is the one that Tracy Krone hit. So I wonder if this has got any knock-on from that moment. It was Scotty was spun at that first chicane. This is on the outside of Tetra Rouge, which we've been talking about so much this weekend.
Buried in the gravel. That's a shame. Scott Sharp was running in the 9th place in P2 prior to that spin.
So we're back in a yellow zone. You can see the green flashing lights halfway down the hill there.
Too. He just made a pit stop at Scott Sharp.
He'd obviously come in to check for any damage after being launched by Krone Aviation.
Yes.
Yeah, and apologies to Ed Brown. I think we thought Ed Brown was in that car, did we?
I think he must have done, because he went barreling down the inside, and he's nothing like as quick, Tracy Krone, than Scott Sharp, even if Scott Sharp was coming out of the pits before that, which I don't think he was, actually. So, yeah, that was an unnecessary incident there, and once again, another slowdown out on the racetrack. Okay, and there's Tracy Krone, Ed Brown, I should say, another spin there, trying to follow one of the Porsche hybrid cars through the Dunlop chicane. That's not going to work, Ed. So another spin for Ed Brown, costing time there in the number 31 car.
So we've got both Rolling Stone cars not rolling at the moment.
Rolling around the wrong way, I think. Yeah, just carried a little bit too much speed there, I think, and realised it too late and spun around. Not the ideal start for that team. They're still learning, I think, with that new chassis that they got. They switched from the HBD chassis to that one quite late, so I think they're making progress all the time.
That's the 46 car then. It's Tristan Gormandi is on board again at the moment. Nice little story about this car. Quite badly damaged on Thursday night, the Tyrrell by TDS car. They had to build up a new chassis. Well, had to get a new chassis, build the car around it, and that was loaned to them by KCMG as it's all going. John Lancaster on board the Greaves car, and he's in a good solid third, has been in a good solid third, just coming in for a pit stop, of course, so where that's going to put him back again. But this battle still raging. Bradley Gomendi, Lancaster, Kevin Estre in fourth, Nat Bertone in fifth, and Nelson Paciatici in fifth place, and this in the Alpine, and that's so good to see the Alpine doing well again.
And of course, whilst we're looking at the screens here, both the timing screens and the TV screens here, we're trying to do our best to answer your questions on Twitter. Mark Cole doesn't have Twitter, but Jeremy Shaw has Twitter, at Jeremy Shaw Racer, and I have Twitter at Damien Faulkner.
One of the Astons with heavy front end damage there. That's the 96 car. That is, who's on board that at the moment?
That's the AM card of, that's Stuart Hall's teammate.
Yeah, is that Roland Good?
Yeah, I think that's him, yeah.
Yeah, it is Roland Good, the car owner. In fact, he owns any of the Gold cars that you see here.
That's quite badly damaged. You can see how that corner, that wheel is actually loose. So that corner is actually shoved right back towards that bulkhead. That was a sizable impact there, despite it not looking too bad bodywork-wise, but bodywork's the least of the worries there. So
where did he go on?
I think this might be a replay of it here, is it? No, it's not. This is live picture.
That's the one of the teammate cars, another of the Gulf liveried cars. That is our GTE Pro leader, Nicky Tim, who's just made his second pit stop of the day and still leads in GTE Pro over his teammate now, Richie Stanaway, in second place. Third place, the Ferrari, with Giancarlo Fisichella now at the wheel of the 51 Ferrari, having taken over from Jimmy Bruni. So that battle rages on in GT. Lots more to come. Just wait around. We'll be back right away back here on Eurosport.
Two and a quarter hours into the Le Mans 24 hours, and times are dropping. We've got fastest sector times, personal ones, and a best of all for at least 4 of those 6 front-running factory teams. Just having a quick look at Tristan Gomendi again. Quite possible the stewards will be looking at this. He gained advantage, didn't he, by going on the wrong side. I don't know if he's given it back or not yet, as we look at that. But certainly fastest man, Loic Duval, overall in this race so far in sector 1. And we've got a problem puncher here for one of the Ferraris. This is where we're getting more and more gravel, sharp stones spread on the track and beginning to pick up punches.
Some debris, really, and it's really important, just like the Nissan earlier in the race with the open door. It's really, really important and critical that he comes back really slowly, because the carcass of the tire, you can see already, is coming away, and if it comes away in an aggressive way, it can slap the bodywork and break the bodywork, and in fact break brake lines and do some damage that would need some time to repair.
I think that was that number 55 car of Duncan Cameron. Seems to be in the wars this week.
Yeah.
There are various incidents, but yeah, another new purple sector there. This time for the other Audi, Andre Lotterer, who reclaims that section in the first sector. So yeah, some quick lap speed turns here by the Audis, not quite so much by the Porsches, although last time around Timo Bernhardt down into the 21s again. Oops, you so near miss there.
Japanese on Japanese.
Yeah, and that's just really. I think the Toyota there was really surprised by the lack of pace on the Nissan there, and it looked like the Nissan was struggling with understeer.
Well, Harry,
and in fairness, it looked like he was trying to get out of the way, but the Toyota just did not anticipate how slow he was. But Andrea Loiter, I think if he has a good end to this lap, he's just done the fastest first sector, as you say, and also his fastest personal best in sector 2, just sector 3 to come. But this could be a good now almost 5-second gap there back to Timo Bernhard.
well, the Nissans are somewhat handicapped by the fact they're having to carry all the hybrid equipment, but they're not using it at the moment, so they got that disadvantage. Nonetheless, Harry Tinknell, who's been in that 22 car since the start, he is actually running 6th in P2 at the moment, and the other 2 cars are catching up now. They've moved up to 19th and 20th with Lucas Ordonez and Daniel Abt, another rookie, and of course nephew of bad boy in the DTM, Christian Abt.
There's a familiar looking face to me there at the head of GTEM. Sebastian Jerome Bleekemolen brothers. Sebastian's brother, both friends of mine, in the SRT Viper there, and that's a very, very strong entry. We were talking to Bill Riley yesterday, Jeremy. I mean, that car is fresh from that was practically built for a factory effort in the GTLM in America, and they pulled the plug on that, so that car has come fresh really from the corner of the factory floor, if you like. But also what's significant here is the people and the crew that are running that team were all factory guys last year, so that's a seriously competitive crew that they've got there, and I'd hazard a guess and say that if nothing happens, them, touch wood, it doesn't, or any of them for that matter, they will be thereabouts at the end of this race.
Yeah, the Vipers here run by Riley Motorsports, Bill Riley there, and the team. Here comes the Audi. I presume that's our race leader, who was the first one in last time. Actually, it was number 8 car that was in first last time around.
And Hulkenberg's in at the same time, so is Bononomi.
And there's an extraordinarily fast lap time from Andrea Loiter, down into the 318s now, a 318.8 on lap, 36?
Yeah, just to finish the Viper story, I was in the pits this morning just having a chat with everyone. Ben Keating I bumped into, who he's one of the drivers, and of course it's his sponsorship, Viper Exchange. That is one of the largest Viper dealerships in the USA, and I said to Ben, thank you so much for bringing the Vipers back, and he said, we've been overwhelmed. Everyone's just been so kind to us here.
Yeah, great guy and a good driver as well. Ben was my teammate 2 years ago, actually, in the US. We had a couple of wins together. One at Coda, I think the other at VAR for TRG back then. So good guy, serious about his racing, and put together a great program here.
So that's Bononomi back out into the action.
What a great lap that was there from Andre Lotter. Wow. They're really showing the pace of the Audi, and on tyres that have done 36 laps now, and he sets the fastest lap race, pulled away about a couple and a half seconds over the Porsches on that lap. The Audi really, really good in its tyres. We talked about it at the beginning of the race. We knew that both tyre and fuel consumption could well be the deciding factors between Porsche and Audi in this 24-hour race, and Audi really looking after its tyres. A brilliant effort there by Andre Lotter. And again, just to recap, when the cars make a pit stop, they can refuel the cars, but they cannot change tyres until after the fueling has been done. The tyre change with only 2 guys over the wall working on onto pit lane working on the tyre changes takes about 20 seconds. So if you can save time without having to change tyres, that's crucial out on the racetrack.
I think Audi are quite comfortable with quadruple stinting their tyres. I'm not so sure Porsche can do that. No, they know that as yet anyway.
Well, we do that Porsche that's just gone back out has in fact changed its tyres, and Hulkenberg handing over to Tandy. So
yeah, and they've got different compounds as well. For different temperatures. I mean, I'm not sure if they're termed in P1 hard, medium or soft, but it's more sort of temperature. They have high temperature tires, low temperature tires, and that will be based on the ambient temperature and the track temperature. So, for example, they may use a different compound in the nighttime when the track temperature is cooler and the ambient temperature is cooler, and all of that is based basically on track conditions and the balance of the car at any time.
Yeah, and Marco Bononomi there in car number 9 Audi did not change tyres, so he's going to do a quadruple stint. We had one of the Porsches in lap then for Loic Duval in car number 8, and he's just gone purple again in sector 1, also a personal best in the second sector as well. So once again making use of the light fuel load here as he gets ready to make a pit stop. Another brilliant lap here from Loic Duval. He's running in the 4th place right now, and now he ducks into pit lane.
And you just got a clip there of him just having to avoid that GT car. Yep. They carry such enormous speed, and there's Lucas de Grassi ready to jump on board.
Yeah, this car, of course, under Justin Taylor, another Brit car manager like Lena Gade. And Justin helped out by their chief mechanic, Bastian Leiter. In comes the car then out of 4th place. Loic doing a really solid job, and in fact his two of his sectors on this last lap is just done with his personal best. Of course, slowed then for the pits. It's the Michael Schumacher school of thought, isn't it? Your in lap is your fastest lap of the race, and so is your out lap.
Well, of course, it gives them a great reference. You know, it's something to chase for, and also they're low on fuel, so you know, it's when they're given that signal to box.
Again, no tyres.
Yeah.
Had them ready just in case, so they're obviously you know, open to suggestions.
Monitoring it, but once again, I'm pretty sure I'd be surprised if the Porsches didn't change tyres on this next pit stop, which is coming up in a couple of laps.
So the Hülkenberg car, which did change tyres, they'll have monitored that then, of course, Jeremy, and I guess they've been checking those tyres and see could they get another stint out of one of the other cars, but we'll watch that space of interest.
Yeah, this is really, really interesting. The Porsches can go longer on a tank of fuel, but they're going to need to change tyres more often. That's what it looks like at this stage in the game. Very, very early, though. As you were saying, Mark, we want to just... Yeah, there you go. That's the call there from Lena Gade to Andre Lotterer, our race leader by 9 seconds last time around. He's pulled out that gap. He took the lead on lap 30. We're now on lap 38. And in that time, the gap has gone from nothing to 9 seconds, and continuing to pull away. Another purple sector 1 there from Andre Lotterer, a full second quicker than Timo Bernhard, and sector 2 just about identical time to Timo Bernhard in the Porsche.
Yeah, on that lap, but significantly the Porsches in sector 2 I think are about a second faster. If we look back at, I think it was Yanni or Bernhard in some earlier laps, so sector 2 is really suiting the Porsche.
Oh, crikey, that was so tight. And he chopped the front off the Tyrrell there.
Yeah, he's just trying to maximise. You can see him spinning up the wheels there, even just a little dart to the pit lane speed limit. Just trying to maximise every inch of tarmac and every second of time.
It was a move like that caused the Le Mans disaster in 1955, when Mike Hawthorne decided to suddenly go into the pits and went across the nose of an Austin Healey and a Mercedes. So, in comes the 7 car. Andre Lotterer, 38 laps behind him.
Once again there, Andre Lotterer will stay aboard this number 7 Audi. And fuel going aboard. There's another driver there waiting to take over just in case, but that will not be necessary. There is our race leader also in P2, and at the same time, Richard Bradley making his 3rd stop of the day. At least, if not his 4th stop, actually.
As the Audi rejoins, but that's really, really professional. The Audi team ticking all the boxes. in the event that maybe the driver didn't get the right communication. Maybe he comes in, maybe he loses his belts or something, and if he had probably loosed his belts, rather than maybe tightening them again, they would just pull him out and have the other driver ready. That's really, really, really professional, just really on top of things. And you can see the other driver leaning down, trying to look into the cockpit to get the thumbs up from Andre Leuter.
Let's just talk about KCMG for a moment. It's the Hong Kong team, of course. They had a great run in the WSC at the moment. Finished third last year in P2, thanks to 3 wins, 6 podiums and 1 pole. And they want to go even better, win the world title and win Le Mans as well. Very well-known team in Asia, KCMG, and Richard Bradley has proved to be a real star this weekend, even with Nick Lapierre on board as well, and Matthew Howson, another good, safe pair of hands, the man from Norwich. But Richard really has shone, hasn't he?
Yeah, Paul Lipp, the owner there of KCMG, as we see the number 2 Toyota onto pit lane, and Alex Wirtz here handing over the car, so he will do a triple stint and hand over the car. They will also change tyres on that number 2 Toyota.
And of course Yip, a well-known name from Hong Kong days, Theodore Racing, Teddy Yip, and I guess there must be some relationship there, Jeremy.
I'm sorry, Mark.
Yeah, so I was saying about Teddy Yip with Theodore Racing from Hong Kong. I'm assuming there might be some relation with Paul, or is that a bit too tender?
No, it's Paul Ip and Teddy Yip.
It's Yip,
yes,
yeah,
no,
okay.
No relation.
So it was too tenuous, yeah. Yep. Toyota then changing tyres, like Porsche, they aren't able to triple stint on theirs.
There's the Labra car just coming into the pit lane, the Corvette, car number 50. We heard that had a lengthy stop earlier on, but it's now back in the fray. Whoops. There's number 29. That's a Pegasus Racing Morgan Nissan.
Yeah.
Having a bit of an excursion. Car's been running fairly well, but they had a delay earlier in the race. So with that pit stop for the race leader, Andre Lotterer, they'll put the Porsches back out in front, and I would expect another lap or 2 before we see that car onto pit lane. Lap 27 it came in last time around, so I expect probably 2 or maybe even 3 laps more for the Porsche car number 17. Neil Jarni in car number 18 is likely to come in a little bit before that. So watching here, Loic Duval, who has made a pit stop a little while ago, still on that same set of tyres, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see now the relative pace of the cars once they've some of them changed onto fresh tyres, some of them not. Indeed, Neil Jarni in that second place car onto pit lane right now. Lap 39.
A beautiful shot of the Audi there just before Indianapolis. And you could see how much, with the bumps in the road, how much the suspension was squatting.
Yeah, the 18 car there, Neil Jarni having done a good job up the front of the field early on, but then gradually the Audis wearing them down, and Neil getting caught up with a back marker Ferrari at one point, which cost him that other place to his teammate Timo Bernhardt. Here's the 7 car though, which Andre Lotterer on board will gradually move into the lead again, but we'll see how much, because Porsche are changing tyres, which he didn't do.
Yeah, exactly right. But how much faster is he going to be able to go on those fresh tyres? This is fascinating.
It's fascinating because there's so many factors, there's so many boxes to tick. So for example, Porsche could have won this race last year arguably, but for mechanical failure at the end. So they tick that box, and then they've got a really, really fast car. That's another box ticked, but Audi have beaten them on tyre wear. So there's so many factors here, and so many challenges over the 24 hours.
We just saw a moment there for the 7 car with Johnny Kane in the dome, the Straka dome, and as Danny Watts told us in that interview, they didn't lose a lap despite having to go into the pits of that damage. Luckily able to stop under safety cars, so that car is still solidly running in P2 on the lead lap.
So you also see the Toyota changing its tyres, brand new set going on.
As did the other ones, so they can't triple stint.
Yeah, so the number 18 Audi completed 13 laps on that last stint, a full green stint, and was taking on tyres. Yeah, did take on tyres, didn't he? Did he? Yes, he did.
Yep.
And I would expect the current race leader, Timo Bernhardt, back in the lead now in car number 17. The Porsche to be onto pit lane most likely this time, possibly one more lap.
So the graph there just showing grid progress, how they